Hi, I'm Brian with Max Forestry. I'm a local dealer here in Colorado for Hudson. We're a full-line dealer carrying firewood processors, conveyors, sawmills, and three-point winches in all the product line that Hudson has to offer. Wanted to give a demonstration on the Badger Firewood Processor that we've got here today. I don't know it to its complete detail, so if there's something I've misquoted or missed, don't hold that against me, but at least we'll give you a good understanding, hopefully, of what this machine is, how it functions, what engine, and how everything is kind of configured. So yeah, this is the Badger. It is basically what we call a firewood processor. I got people call quite a bit for firewood processors, and as I get through the conversation with them after a while, I realize that they may not have a skid steer or a piece of equipment for loading a infeed on a processor, conventional processor. This is a little bit different design. It's pretty neat. This unit loads itself from ground level. It has a winch for pulling the logs up into the feed trough. There's a stop bar here for sizing your material, which is adjustable depending on the firewood length you want to cut. And then you have a cantilevered saw bar here for cutting your wood. So the back-breaking task of cutting wood in a pile or bucking it up and the risk of kickback on a chainsaw, safety, everything else, this has a lot of really nice benefits to it. So it'll self-feed, it'll cut your wood to size, drops into your splitting tray, and then it'll push through. And this unit now has a 4-way wedge on it, which comes standard. And that is an adjustable wedge where you can adjust the height depending upon the size of material you're cutting. This is removable. Just take this bolt out, and there's a 6-way wedge that'll set in here. I do have one of those here that after we run through the process, I'll change this wedge out to a 6-way wedge, and I've got a shorter piece, or a short piece we'll just run through just for demonstration wise through a 6-way wedge. But let me walk around and we'll show you the, actually before I get to there, this machine, one thing I did not mention, it has an optional conveyor available for it. So it is an attached, onboard, driven by the engine conveyor. It's a 12-foot conveyor. It folds up for transport. You can leave the conveyor right on it. This unit does not have that conveyor option on it. That conveyor we're talking about, the optional one for the Badger, is 12 foot. What we do have paired up with this one today is a HUD-SON, it's a belt conveyor, 20 foot, and gas powered on its own engine. The detachable conveyor, or the separate conveyor, is I've got a lot of customers that like to not only use it for piling their firewood off of their machine, but once they've got a firewood pile that they've got processed and it comes time for season where you're going to start selling, you can spin this conveyor around, back it up to your pile, and if you want to hand sort and hand pick your wood, throw it to a conveyor and it'll load it right onto your truck, trailer, whatever you're using for deliveries. So very versatile tool. Conveyors are way overlooked a lot of times, even on the splitter side of things. Just the amount of work getting rid of material that a conveyor can take care of for you is just, it's awesome. And if you're limited on space, this thing has a high lift height where you can make big piles and utilize square footage. You don't have to use as much square footage for getting a lot of material. All right, I'm going to pop up the infeed here and tip out our engine control panel. This unit has a 16 horsepower Briggs & Stratton Vanguard. It's a V-twin. Good solid engine. We've had great successes with it. Good starting, good running. Runs this machine perfectly. That unit runs a hydraulic pump for your cylinder and for your winch, and then it also has a direct drive system for the chainsaw. So there's an electric clutch that drives belts for running your chainsaw. So you're getting your maximum horsepower to that chainsaw. Maintenance and everything else to this engine is not, pretty easily accessible to it. You don't have to pull or any bolts or anything else. You've just got one pin here that you have to pull to get that tray out of the way, but no other. We spoke already about the length guide, and like I said, that is adjustable. In this unit right now, we've pulled the tongue out of it to pair a conveyor with it. That's how it's designed. It's designed, you can pull, once you set this unit in place, the tongue comes right out, pull a pin and then take a bolt and that comes out. I do still have the tongue in the conveyor, so the tongue you see underneath there is from the conveyor. And that is also designed to be removed. So depending on what machine you're running, all their equipment, the tongue's removed very easily, and will pair up to pretty much any piece of equipment you got very, very well. When you do pull that tongue, there's these corner posts on all four corners of the machine to set this thing in place and level it out. If you walk around the back here, this is the bar lube tank. So this is what, it's got an electric pump that lubricates your chainsaw bar. We need to add some to her, but we'll get through this demo here right now. There's these other corner posts we talked about, and then this right here, that unit is designed to, as you are skidding a log into this and it has any resistance, those are designed to stab it in the ground and lock the machine in place so that it has more skidding force. Okay, I'm going to flip this up real quick. This is how this machine would be transported, and then once you get to wherever you're going to run the machine and you're ready to go, all you've got to do literally drop this to the ground. This is the in-feed grate, and it is a grate. It is designed, these are all solid bar, really nice and heavy duty, and it's designed as you bring your material through here, any rocks or dirt or debris or anything that's on the wood, it's going to have a good chance to fall out of there. And then you've got a slanted in-feed trough that feeds up into our cutting system. Hydraulic winch. This is the unit for pulling the logs up into the machine. Really neat winch. As I've gotten to know this thing a little bit, it has a 2-speed option on it, or it is a 2-speed. So depending on your positioning of these levers, you can run it either slow or high speed. If you've got something a long way out and you want to get it in quick, kick it to high. Traditionally, for being able to bring it in and have controllability, I like to run it in low though. If you want to grab this cable and bring it out and choke a log and in-feed it, you can freewheel it, so you can pull it out by yourself. And that's kind of the gist on that. We'll actually fire it up and run a demonstration. You can see how all this works. Hydraulic tank, filter, everything's out accessible, good maintenance points on it. And then as far as controls go, this is the control station. This is where the operator's going to be. What I really like about this machine, it is extremely simplistic in its function. And everything is laid out just like it should be. It's intuitive almost. This valve right here controls the winch. If you pull it towards you, it feeds the winch in. If you need to bump it back for whatever reason, it's got a reverse also on that winch. This valve here controls your splitter. So you hold it forward for splitting, and then it's got a detent to retract that. Once that comes to full retract, it'll kick itself back into a neutral stance. This machine comes standard with a pressure gauge on it, so as you're splitting you can watch your operating pressures and kind of see where things are at. And then this is how you operate the chainsaw. Basically, there's an electric switch on here. As you push this switch, it does two things. One, it engages the clutch to drive the chainsaw chain, and then it also will activate the lube pump for the bar oil. Fire the chainsaw up, bring this down through, make your cut, and then it's spring loaded. It'll go back to the resting position. There's one more device here, really. That's this unit right here. This is just a hand grip with a cable attached on the in-feed. When you pull the log up into here, there's a plate that's designed to actually grip and hold your log. This handle is designed to lift that up. So as you bring a butt end up into this thing, you can lift this up, winch it right up inside of there, and then once you get the log past it, you set it down and it'll put pressure on that log. You don't need to do that after you get the log in there, just once to get it started. Operator interface you've got on this side here is your wedge lift, and this is just a manual cantilever design, and it's labeled where you've got the wedge. I really like on this machine, if you run the 4-way wedge at the lowest level, the 4-way wedge doesn't split. You're just using a single wedge. So you get a real knotty piece, you know there's going to be a problem. You don't have to remove your 4-way wedge to get through it. You can just drop your wedge out of the way, split it in halves, and work at that point. Get past that knotty piece or
back into some good stuff, and then you just take this thing and you lift her back up to the height you want to run it. So that's how the console lays out. I do have the 6-way wedge laying right here, and like I said, I will have this set in after we run it. But there's your 6-way wedge. Obviously, you're going to get a lot more pieces out of this wedge, but it's also going to take some more force. So, you know, just like everything, you need to use a little bit of common sense as to what wood you're going to run through a 6-way wedge. If you're dealing with some real nasty stuff, elm or cottonwood or something like that, that's not going to be a wedge you're going to want to throw on here and use. If you're working with straight grain stuff, a lot of the aspens and the pines that we're dealing with here in Colorado, this is a great option. A single pass, you get good product sizing through one push, and it enables you to run a lot bigger diameter material and a lot more throughput, a lot more production. This engine is electric start, and it's all done from the operator console. It's all your throttle and your keys are protected underneath here. And you've got an ignition, choke, and then your throttle. So I'm going to go ahead and fire this thing up. We're going to hook to a log. We're going to bring it up into this thing, and I'll just show you how it works. I'm not going to try and make it look real fancy. We're not going to cut video, but you know, there's a couple sets to get it up into the infeed. Once we get it there, we'll run some pieces through, and then once we run a few through here, I'm going to pull that 4-way wedge. We'll drop in the 6-way wedge and run I got a bigger piece of ash here that we'll pop through that 6-way wedge just as a comparison. So I'm going to go ahead and fire this thing up. just for showing it quick. Take that out. Simply this out of here.
That's our Badger Firewood Processor. I hope that gave you kind of a quick overview of what the machine is, how it operates, maybe the cycle times, everything else. If you have any interest, please give